Hey dudes and dudettes, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Be Kind and Rewind podcast, a podcast chock full of everything that is nostalgic about the 80s, 90s, and more. This episode, we're unleashing the Hungry Hippos, connecting 4 while passing go and collecting $200 because we're talking about the best and worst nostalgic board games of our childhoods. So I'm joined by fellow nostalgia guru and member of Generation Rad from OddPod Channel, hosted by Dan. So welcome, Dan.
Hey everybody, you alright?
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. He's over in the UK, so he's taking the time out of his night to be with us tonight, so I appreciate that. But before we get into our nostalgic board games, tell everybody about the OddPod channel and a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, OddPod actually started off as a podcast, hence the word pod in it. And yeah, it's a YouTube channel now, all about nostalgia, anything nostalgic from the 80s and 90s. I have a little crew of little furry monster people, Murray, Flip, and Boglin, and all of the things, and we talk about anything nostalgic. And also a podcast as well called OddPod's Retro Game Music. So that's pretty much it. It's just, if you love nostalgia, you'll love OddPod. Simple as that.
Oh yeah, and nostalgia is at an all-time high at this point in time. So we're in the good market, I think, for now. So yeah, well, good. Well, we'll get everybody to check out the links and get all the places they can follow you online here after a little bit. But first, we're gonna jump in to the thing that we're here for, is to talk about the nostalgic games that we grew up with in our childhoods. And it's going to be interesting since we're from different areas of the world, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of games you guys got to play compared to the ones we had. I'm sure that we all have similar games or the same games, but there has to be some differences and see where they are. So we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to go with number 5 on the best, and then we're going to jump right over to number 5 on the worst, and we'll go down to our number ones for each one from there. So to start out with the number 5, what is your number 5 best one to start out with?
Right, this I've got to start off by saying this list was so difficult.
When I started looking, I was like, people are going to hate me because I'm going to have to leave some good ones off.
Yeah, it was so difficult. So number 5, it kept getting taken off by other ones. So I've got a big list of other ones that were number 5 initially, and it kept getting put on, taken off. So my number 5 is Kerplunk.
Start with the sticks, like so, making a bed where the marbles go. You don't want those marbles, not at all. So pick a stick, but don't let them fall, because if it goes kerplunk, you're sunk.
Kerplunk from Tycho.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I played Kerplunk so much as a kid, even just on my own. It was just a silly... if you don't know what Kerplunk is...
the strings, right?
Yeah, you just pull the little straws and his marbles on top, and you've got to, be really careful. I think... because it's been so long since I played it, but yeah, you got to just drop the marbles into the bottom. And is it one with the most marbles or least marbles? It's the one with the least, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the least marbles.
You got to keep them stacked up on top, right? That's where it's all about.
Yeah. So you get different colors. So you can have red or yellow, so you can choose a color. And yeah, initially made in the late 60s by Ideal, and in UK it's released by Milton Bradley, and I think you've got it by Mattel in America.
Oh yeah, Milton Bradley or Mattel, they are the kings of the of the board game. So one or the other is going to have the license or have the reign on that. So yeah, Kerplunk is definitely awesome. I feel like that's more like one that I enjoyed in like elementary school. Kind of like it was like it's just kind of a standard default game that every classroom had. You just had Kerplunk. You had maybe ants in the beans, spill the beans type of one. So yeah, I think it's a good starter one of the old school type of ones.
It's a really intense game as well.
Yeah.
You got to really just put it really slowly and just make sure nothing happens.
The tension, and when you get older, I'm sure people try to put money on that kind of stuff, so I'm sure that makes it the tension built even better. So yeah, Kerplunk's a solid one to start out for the number 5. So I'll jump into my number 5 best one. I have Sorry.
Sorry. Go through. Sorry. It's the game of sorry. First you're way ahead, then you get bumped way back. So shake a leg and you'll get home first. The game of
Sorry. You guys rocked out some Sorry as well?
I know Sorry, but I don't think I've ever played it, I actually have Pokemon Sorry somewhere. And I don't think I've actually ever played it.
Well, sorry. Yes, it was a board game that's come from Pachisi. It's the ancient game that it's based off of. And of course, this one, it was actually originally manufactured in England by Hasbro, but now I believe it's Milton Bradley that owns it. And the game is just, it's one that takes me back truly to my early childhood, because it was a game that, like you said, with Kerplunk, it's just a standard in a lot of classrooms, or a lot of kids, like parents just bought that because they knew their kids would like it. So you kind of got used to playing with your friends. You know, the whole concept of sliding your little piece down there, knocking your friend out of the area, which is a different concept, because playing the chutes and ladders and games like that, you're just kind of counting and making your way. This one's a little bit different take on it. So I always enjoyed Sorry. And you said you didn't play, or you had a different rendition of it?
I know the game, and there's loads of different versions. Like it's Pokemon Sorry, and there's loads of different versions. But I don't think I've actually ever sat down and played it, so I don't really know what the game's about.
If you run into Parcheesi, people say it differently. I think you're just gonna get the same similar situation on it. So yeah, check it out. Like I said, Sorry, for a lot of people my age and my classrooms, that was Sorry. It was like the go-to game. We had look like little Hershey Kisses, different color, like red, blue, green, and some red one. And so it was just a good one. It was a solid classroom default. So now we're gonna jump into our number 5 worst one. So what's your 5th worst one?
Right. The worst list was the hardest to make, and I think it's going to be, I don't know, I don't think anyone's going to agree with any of them, and I don't even agree with my worst, because it's one of those ones where I like them, but I don't like them for certain reasons, so they're my worst, but I don't think they're the worst games ever, because they're very popular.
It could be for personal reasons. It doesn't have to be an overall bad review of the game. Just be like, it didn't entertain me type of a situation.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. But number 5 is Trivial Pursuit.
Some homes have air cooling systems, barbecue area, ensuite bathroom, discreet front porch, or walk-in wardrobes. However, there's one thing that makes every home more desirable. Trivial Pursuit. Every home should have one.
And that's a weird one, because I actually love trivia. I love questions and things like that. But I find Trivial Pursuit, especially the original old one, is so difficult. The questions are ridiculous. And yeah, that's the main reason, because there's loads of different types. You've got Disney Trivial Pursuit, and there's loads of different types. But I've got the original down there. I can only answer the movie questions. That's it. Sports, politics, geography, everything else. They're such difficult questions, and it just frustrates me.
And there's always that one friend who, answers more questions than others, so they just start feeling a little bit better than everybody, and you're just like, I can't even try to answer any of these. I can't even outdo my friend here.
Yeah, I've even got the 80s and 90s edition as well, and I thought I'm gonna be fine with the 80s and 90s, totally fine. As soon as it gets to politics, sports, geography, and science, I'm done.
Yeah,
they're so difficult.
So can we just stick to the movies and entertainment genre? Is that possible? Yeah.
So
I do remember playing those games
because of that.
I do, and now that I think about it, I do remember the difficulty just kind of throwing you off. Like, okay, this might be more of an adult game, and then you get to playing it as an adult. You're like, I don't know who this is for, because it's not for me, because I don't know a lot of these. And the main point of some of these games is to try to make yourself look good, not look like a total ass in front of your friends.
And it makes the game last for hours and hours and hours, because there's every question you get like, don't know that one, don't know that one, don't know that one. So you're just going on forever doing it. So yeah, the worst list was so difficult. That's why some of these ones I don't think people are going to agree on. Yeah, even I don't.
Please don't send us in a hate mail. We understand this is going to all be subjective, and people are going to have different likes and different preferences. So this is all based on our personal experiences and preferences. So please do not hate if the list does not pertain to what yours is. So my 5th worst one I had was the Game of Life.
You can be a winner at the Game of Life.
I'm on my way.
Make the choices.
Collect my pay.
You may go far.
Invest my car.
Go to college.
Be a movie star.
You can be a winner at the Game of Life.
Hey, look, I've got a wife.
Kids and taxes. Treasure too.
Will you be rich when you're through? You can be a winner at the Game of Life.
I win.
The Game of Life from Milton Bradley.
Oh, I didn't think you'd put Life in the worst.
Yeah, so it's one of the more popular parlor games that, it's been around for a long time, like the Kerplunk, like since the 60s and something like that. And it's just like, it's a reality-based game. It looks like it's fun, but it's gonna it's hitting you with some realities. Like, you
have kids,
you got kids, you got mortgages, you lose your job, and it takes forever. It probably takes it's like Monopoly. It takes a good 4 or 5 hours to at least get a solid game in. And normally you're playing with your family, so any time more than like an hour and a half with your family, you're already annoyed. So when you get to the 4th or 5th hour of life and you're just like, I just want this game to end, and you already got 3 mortgages and you lost 2 jobs, you're just depressed as it is in the game of life, and then you have to be, go back to real life. So I just think the game of life was just, for me, it was too long, and it was just kind of depressing at times.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. Yeah, totally. I've only ever played it a few times in my life, though, and those times felt like the longest times of my life.
Yeah.
But they did take a long time.
For something that looks like it should just kind of keep rolling, you spinning the little dial, and you're just moving along. You think it'd move quickly, but man, 4 or 5 hours is, I think, a minimum on Life. So yeah, Life is my number 5 on the worst. So we're gonna jump back to our best ones. So what's your number 4 of your best games?
My my number 4, sorry, of the best ones. I don't know if anyone would actually have heard of, but it's called Bedbugs.
Bedbugs! Bedbugs! The Beatles sleep today! Bedbugs! Bedbugs! Such a crazy game to play!
Bedbugs is the frantic new game where everyone picks a color and then scrambles to catch the most bugs.
Bedbugs! Bedbugs! It's a wacky game to play!
Bedbugs from MB. It'll drive you buggy.
Yes, of course.
Oh, you know Bedbugs.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was released in America or not.
If there was, it's probably one of those that has multiple renditions of them. But the Bedbugs definitely, like, was it one that had like an actual bed that like shook and everything like that?
Yeah, the bed vibrated. You had little bed bugs, and you had the tweezers and a certain color tweezer. So you had a yellow tweezer. You had to pick up the yellow bed bugs whilst it's all vibrating. So much fun. Absolutely love that game. And it's another game just like Kaplunk. Like, if I didn't have my friends around, I'd just play it on my own because it was just really fun. I'd just pick up all the bed bugs while it's all vibrating and stuff. I'd even use it with like my Ninja Turtle toys.
You got creative. You got creative, huh? You got some nunchucks and some swords just kind of bouncing around. You got to pick up. Yeah. No, that was kind of one of those toys that had like, it was a simple concept, so it had a really sweet commercial to sell you on. And I think it was one of those that you see on TV. It was like, we had Nickelodeon. What's like the equivalent over there to Nickelodeon? It was like Channel 4 or something like that? Or is it?
We had Nickelodeon.
Okay, I wasn't sure you had Nickelodeon or not. So well, they rocked it at those commercials like in between every episode of everything. So I think I remember that one having one of the more catchy ones, because of course it's a little more simple of a game. So you gotta get us kids intrigued, because we're already the stimulation is already at a high level at that point in time. So yeah, I agree, that's a good one. So my number 4 of the best one, I'm going with Perfection.
Put the pieces into the slot, make the right selection, but be quick, you're racing the clock. Goes Perfection. You race to fit the shapes into the slots, but you better be quick, or Perfection will pop. This piece here and that piece there, put those pieces everywhere, but be quick or beware. Goes Perfection.
Which
Perfection. Okay.
It's like the timing game. It's been around for a little bit as well. I think it was in Pennsylvania by Reed Toys. And then now it's, like I said, it's a perfect traveling game, because I would always take it on with the timer. You have the pieces there. You can put it in your lap. You can race yourself. Or the most tension for me that was built was when I was playing with like my cousin or my sister. Of course, like when you're playing against somebody and like your hands are shaking while you're trying to get the pieces, and as much as you think you know the pattern, that timer just like gets in your head. They made it annoying purposely, because they know that it will just like shake people to their core, and it got me a few times. I've lost a few Perfection games due to that damn timer. And also it had a really weird commercial. It was another one I was talking about with the commercials. It's like in your face, over the top for a pretty simple game that you'd have to really sell it at a different angle to get us kids interested, and it got me going. So traveling with Perfection was a pretty good companion when it came to those long trips before there were iPads and portable DVD players and you couldn't control the music your parents were playing in the car, so you had to play either Game Boy or some Perfection or one of those travel games for sure. So we'll go to our worst one. So our number 4 for our worst. What's your number 4 worst?
Number 4 worst for me is Battleship.
Man your battle stations. Man your battle stations.
It's electronic talking battleship from Milton Bradley. So real it really talks.
Battleship armed. Battleship armed.
We're talking instant programming, free skill levels, and only Milton Bradley's got 'em.
Carrier hit. Carrier hit.
Against the computer or opponent, your mission, sink the enemy's fleet.
Battleship sunk. Battleship sunk.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Electronic talking battleship and original battleship, only from Milton Bradley.
Battleship.
Again, another really popular one that.
Hey, we're gonna run into a couple of those.
I just find it really boring. It's like when you first set it up, it's like kind of exciting, like F2, and you're putting all the pegs down. After like 5 minutes, I just get kind of bored, especially when you've missed about 10 times. I just can't be bothered after a while.
The repeated misses is a deterrent. You're just like, okay, like you just give up. You just start throwing numbers out. You're like, I don't even care. And that's when you start hitting them, and then you start thinking you're good at it, and it doesn't turn out well.
And then you've got the friends that cheat and just say, no, you missed. And just got that.
I mean, I'm guilty on both sides. I've done it, and I've had it done to me, and it doesn't feel good either way. Yep. You're doing it, you're just like, this doesn't feel good, but I need this.
So you got to have some trust in that game. You got to have a lot of trust for your friend who you're playing against.
Now, did you prefer, like, if you did play it, the electronic one that made noises, or do you like the old school, like, just the standard?
I never played the electronic one. I've only ever played just the proper one with the little pegs.
The electronic one made it a little more suspenseful, but still, with the misses, it like miss. It just kind of just came in your nightmares at night, basically. Here, miss. So yeah, I agree. Battleship, and it didn't help that they tried to make that shitty movie couple years back based on it.
Rihanna was in that, wasn't she?
Rihanna, man,
jeez, that was terrible.
She knows how to pick those projects. She was in that, and she was just in Valerian, which I haven't seen Valerian, but it's Luc Besson, so I imagine it's decent. But she's in it, so I don't know. It's a toss up when you see Rihanna in a picture at this point. Battleship is a solid one. Sorry for those who enjoyed it, but it does have its drawbacks for sure. My number 4 worst one. We're going to go Grape Escape.
It's the Grape Escape game.
Make 'em, take 'em to the factory. Mash 'em, now the history. A little, and now you're a little out of shape. That's the way you do it when you play the Grape Escape.
The Grape Escape game. Race through the crazy jam factory without getting sliced, squished, mashed, or mushed.
Hey, this is fun.
I'm almost done.
Maybe you won, you're not too late. That's the way you do it when you play the Grape Escape.
This one is like, it's a great concept. The commercial, of course, was catchy with the little grape guys running around getting smashed and chopped up, but it's like a mousetrap ripoff where it's just like they use the contraptions more than the actual gameplay. It's just like the gameplay is just like how fast can we get you to these little contraptions and you set it all off, which that's what you're doing most of the game. And so it's just one of those to me. I had it, and the Play-Doh dried up within like the first week that I had it. So you only had like a week-long span unless you want to re-up on some Play-Doh. And then of course you start losing pieces that connect to how the whole thing goes together. So not it all works. The scissors, only one blade of the scissors work. So for me, it's just kind of it was more of a second tier mousetrap.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely one of those games where the commercial was better than the actual game. The commercial was just more fun. I remember I've never actually played it, but I do remember seeing them getting squished, like you said, and stuff like that. It looked really cool, but yeah,
it looks
never
great.
played it, so I don't know how it actually plays. So I can't really make much comment on that.
No, it's just you're just waiting to smash something. You don't even care who wins. You're just like, I just want to get to smash my guy or smash your guy, and that's it. So Grape Escape was mine. So so we did our number 4 worst one. So now we're on to number 3 top one. So what's your third best game?
My number 3 is Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur.
It's Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur! Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur knocks you out as you move Dizzy, dizzy dinosaur. He's real nice till you roll the dice. Dizzy, dizzy dinosaur. Yeah, he's a silly beast, to say the least. He got me, he got you, not me. Dizzy, dizzy dinosaur. Be lucky and smart or it's back to start. Dizzy, dizzy dinosaur. Turns and spins till someone wins. Yeah, dizzy, dizzy dinosaur from Preston.
Dizzy, dizzy dinosaur. I don't know if I played that one.
Oh, it's awesome. Stone Age based game. You play as little caveman, so you can choose either. It's usually like you choose yellow, red, green, all that kind of stuff. In most board games, you choose a color, and you have to go across them. You have to get to like an exit, and you roll the dice. But if you roll a dinosaur, you have to wind up this cool plastic dinosaur, and it spins around. And if you get knocked down, you have to go all the way back to the beginning again. And it's annoying, but it's a really fun game.
It reminds me of a game I have on the list, so we'll see how similar they are. But yeah, that sounds pretty awesome, actually.
It's one of those ones that's really fun, but it's frustrating at the same time, because as soon as you roll a dinosaur, and all your friends just look at you, and you're like, oh, geez. So but all your friends can also get knocked down. So you wind it up.
Yep, that's exactly like, let's see, like my number 2. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it because they're basically the same game. So I know what you're talking about now, but it's just funny that they're named differently. That's what when I was doing some research, I did see that the games would have different names in different countries wherever they were, kind of catered to that region. So I think we are talking about the same game.
I've got a weird feeling I might know what that one you're talking about is. I'm not going to say, but
no, we're not going to reveal it yet, but I think we're on the same page in that one. So yes, that sounds awesome, and then if we're talking about the same one, has similar experiences. So we'll get to it when we talk about it here soon. So we'll go. My number 3 was Shark Attack.
Shark Attack! This shark is like a maniac!
It's Shark Attack. The fish that survives is the winner.
It's coming! It's coming!
Sink your teeth into Shark Attack.
And this one's an older one. This one's like late 80s, early 90s by Milton Bradley. This one's where you just had a mechanical shark that just went around in a circle. All you do is just roll your dice and you move along. You just move along on the square. And the shark is just always moving. So like you got to keep rolling the dice. The dice got to keep moving. So the worst was when you had that asshole friend who's like, oh, I'm just going to take my time, roll my dice. And your guy, as you see the shark approaching your last guy in the back, you're like, just roll that damn dice. And finally, it's just one of those elementary school brawls. Happens a few times. So kids stalling on the rolling of the dice. So did you have a Shark Attack or a rendition of it?
No, it's another game I do know of because of, do you know James Rolfe? On YouTube,
yes,
Angry Video Game Nerd. He did a series called Board James, and he actually did Shark Attack on that. So that's the only reason I know about that.
I watched it not too long, just the other day. I watched the same video.
That's when I first saw that, and I don't even know if it was released in the UK. It probably was, but I don't think I ever played it. But it did look really cool, but. No, never had any experience with it or anything.
And I'm sure people are going to argue, like, that's not even that great of a game, but for me, it's pure nostalgia. Like, it was like, I was like, 6 years old when I was playing that game with my cousins and like at my uncle's house type of thing. So like whenever I see that game, you just get transformed into those memories when you start playing something like that. Yeah. So it's definitely in that situation. So I'm not saying it's the best game in the world, but it's definitely for me, for nostalgic purposes.
Well, yeah, sometimes the nostalgia bumps it up to the best.
Exactly. So that's where our number 3s are. So now we're going number 3 best. We're going number 3 worst. So what's your number 3 worst?
So, again, it's another weird one because my number 3 worst is a game I actually do play and do like, but don't like at the same time, and that's Monopoly.
Parker Brothers kind of fun brings people together.
Delayed.
Monopoly's been bringing people together for almost 50 years. That's how long we've been wheeling and dealing together, building hotels together, and going to jail together.
Corner the market and utilities. You can't lose.
Share a smile and your day seems a whole lot better.
Parker Brothers kind of fun brings people together.
And for the reason you said before about it taking hours and hours and people falling out of each other and stuff like that.
Oh,
Monopoly,
man. The falling out of relationships, friendships, families, divorces have probably happened because of Monopoly.
Yeah. So my favorite Monopoly is Pokemon Monopoly. I played that ridiculous amount back in the day, and when I was really young, the normal one. And it was just one of those games where you'd be really excited, you set it all up and everything, you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then an hour later, you're like, okay, and you've got a little bit of money left. And then 2 hours later, someone's got a big pile of cash. You're not wanting to land on one of their hotels. And you do, and you start arguing and saying, oh, I'll just borrow some money from the bank. And pretend you just take a bit of money from the bank, even though you're not supposed to. And then people start arguing, like, I saw you steal from the bank.
Yeah, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, like situation. And like you said, the first hour, you're like, oh, this is going to be a great game. We're all working together well, until that first person starts striking a deal with somebody else. And then you start thinking, well, how come they don't want to make that deal with me? Well, how come let's do this deal? And then everybody starts doing their side deals, and then and then you start borrowing money and putting mortgages up, like start making adult decisions while playing a game. So you're just like,
and because it takes so long as well. Like they usually have like a break after like 2 hours. Like, all right, we'll have a break. We'll go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And then you get back and you notice one of your friends has got. They seem like they've got more money than they had before.
Yeah,
like that.
It's always an honor. If somebody takes a break, we all have to leave. Like nobody's staying back at the board. We all leave, and then we come back, or you count. You know how much, even though we're all friends. We're all making sure we have our money still there when we come back. So
that's why it's one of the worst. It can turn people evil, and it just takes your day. That's it. Your day's gone.
They realized that, and that's why they started making like all these fun ones, like the Pokemon ones, the Simpsons ones, because like, okay, we got to make this like not so straightforward, or people are going to kill each other.
Monopoly now.
Yeah, they're like, okay, people aren't going to kill each other if they're playing as Homer Simpson. Like, so let's let's do that. Let's just make them themed, and we could sell more, and less people will die. So yeah, I agree. Monopoly, as popular as it is, I'd say it's just the fun factor is at a minimum when it comes to playing that game. So my number 3 of the worst I have is Mall Madness.
Got your credit card? It's Mall Madness.
Sale at the shoe store.
The new shop till you drop game that really talks.
Sale at the fashion boutique.
It's all the fun of a shopping spree. With Mall Madness, you get it all. A bank account and your own credit card.
Clearance at the sunglass boutique.
Mall Madness really talks. To win, buy everything on your list and be first out of the mall. I win!
Attention, mall shoppers.
Mall Madness, the electronic shopping game that really talks. From Milton Bradley. It's the mall with it all.
And this is more of a dedicated to the ladies, but my sister, of course, a few years older, had a copy of it, or had a case of it, and we play with her friends. And it's just like Monopoly. It's just mundane. You're just you're tedious task. You have to keep a list of what you need to buy. You're going around a mall on this board, and you just have like I said, you have shopping tasks. And I just thought, even as for a kid, I was like, all right, this is nothing for me. But for the girls, they weren't even enjoying it that much, because it's another one that had those commercials. They like the girls are like shopping in a real mall, and it cuts to them playing on the board games. Like, oh, they're having just as much fun in the mall as they are in the game. This is gonna be great. And even the girls who are teenage level, the hit demographic for that game, still were like, yeah, this is kind of boring. So I just remember playing that a few times with my sister and just being like, man, I if these girls don't like it, I can't imagine that much girls out there have enjoyed it. Did you ever see it or play it?
I've never even heard of this one.
Is this as pandering as pandering can get in the 80s with the mall epidemic?
I thought it was going to be something like Dream Phone or something.
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar to Dream Phone, where like it has like a little intercom in the middle where it tells you things that you need to do. And I mean, like, it's a cool concept. The commercial, again, we're going to talk a lot about how cool the commercials were, because they knew what to do for kids. But when we played it, it's just like, yeah, this is boring as hell, and it just kind of dragged. It didn't take forever, but it did drag on. So that was one of those. I had to include one of the girls' games because I figured, they did have their fair share of them, but that was the only one I had personal experience with. So yeah, so we'll jump into our number 2 best one. So what's your number 2 best?
All right. There's a bit of a theme with my ones, because a lot of my ones don't actually have boards.
It's so all right. Mine's the same way.
So my number 2 is Pop-Up Pirates.
Ahoy, mateys! Here's a game to treasure me bucko. Pop-Up Pirate! Whichever lily-livered landlubber makes Pop-Up Pirate pop up is out of the game! But no one ever knows when he's gonna pop up next. That's his secret. Shiver me timbers! Pop-Up Pirate is a barrel of fun. Pop-Up Pirate. Up to 4 players can play the original Pop-Up Pirate preschool game from Toby. Available at Toys R Us.
Pop-Up Pirates, that's another one. It could be a different rendition, but let me hear about this one.
Yeah, so Pop-Up Pirate, I'm pretty sure it started off in Japan in like the mid-70s or something. I think it was called something completely different then. Released by Tomy, I think UK and USA, I think. And basically you have a little barrel, you put the pirate in, and each person playing puts a sword in the barrel, and one sword will activate the pirate and he'll pop up. And that's pretty much it. You don't want to pop up the pirate, so it's really tense. So every time you put a sword in, you're like, "Oh my god, don't be the one!" You put it in, it's like, "Oh, your heart settles for a second." It's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the. There's this alligator game that it's got its mouth open. You press the teeth in, and there's that
Crocodile Dentist.
That's it. Boom, the Crocodile Dentist. I had it, and I even used it for a seance one time. My cousin and I were like, okay, we're going to put this the alligator out, the crocodile, and he's like, if there's a ghost in here, press the last button to close the mouth. And it didn't happen, but I just remember specifically using that to determine if there were ghosts in my house. So it sounds like there's similar concept. Like you said, you put it all the way through, so the sword to go all the way through to the other side. Is that what it happens?
It sort of goes like, there must be, I don't know how it actually works, but yeah, so every time you play it, it's different because there's loads of different holes. So every time you play it, it activates in a different hole. So it sort of goes halfway to the barrel.
So you can tell, so like if you know you're going to set it off, you're like, oh, I found it. And you're like, you put the rest of it in and it pops it.
You've got the cheating people who put it in really slowly just to see if it's a bit tougher to put in. And you're like, no, you got to go all the way though, because sometimes they'll take it out and go, oh no, I didn't want to use this hole.
Yeah, that was my go-to for the Crocodile Dentist. You knew the tooth when it was a little extra hard. You're like, oh, that's it. And you go to the next one. Like, nope. Don't you try cheating. So yeah, us kids, we were schemers. We knew we knew how to get around. Just we were like the card counters of the board games back then. So cool. So that was your number 2. My number 2 is going back to one I think we were talking about earlier, was Tornado Rex.
I'm Tornado Rex and I love to Rex. Smash, world crash. Better listen to what I say.
He's Tornado Rex and there'll be nothing left if you get in his way.
The Tornado Rex game. Move your man up to win, but don't get knocked off.
Have tornado, have wild beast. Climb to the top,
but get past me.
Tornado Rex. I love to Rex. Smash, world crash. Tornado Rex.
From Parker Brothers.
Oh, Rex.
And what was the name of
That's
yours?
what I was thinking of, Tornado Rex. I was thinking that, yeah.
And so same concept, spin up the little guy, hit the button, he goes down, this behemoth of a board. I remember the box, like if you got this box for Christmas or for your birthday, you thought you were getting like a mini car. That's how big this damn box was, like a refrigerator box. And you get the case out, you set it out, and we had hikers. I think was it hikers that you guys?
Yeah, they were climbing up the mountain, weren't they?
Yeah, so you hit the button and hope to God the tension was full. You're like, don't hit my guy, don't hit my guy, and they'd knock him right on off. So the worst part about it, was whenever like the little clip to spin it would break. Did yours ever break, or did you ever have that situation?
I never actually had it. I just saw it a lot. I never actually owned it, so I don't know if they broke or not.
No, mine. Like, I think I had to. I was winding it, and then it just kind of broke that little piece off. So like it barely halfway winds. So it's like it goes from a spinning tornado to like a wobbling like down the path. But yeah, Tornado Rex was like the best one of the best ones for me. Just because I just remember the huge setup and like just watching the tornado go down the track. So that was the number 2 for the best. So now we're going number 2 for the worst. So what's the 2 for the worst?
2 for the worst is Risk.
Risk. Risk. Win the game and you win the world.
Parker Brothers kind of fun.
Ah, yeah. Kramer and Newton would be upset with you.
But Risk, oh geez, it's to me, like I said, some people love this game, but I find it just so boring. And it's got the same thing with Monopoly, where it could just take days to do. It just takes so long.
It was one I never played. I never played Risk because I was just afraid of how long it took.
I only ever played it a few times, and every time I was just completely bored, and the other person was really into it, like wanted me to play, and it's just like I don't care.
And that's an automatic. The other person's going to be way into it more than I am.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's no winning at this point, unless I play somebody else who's learning for the first time, and even then it'll probably be terrible. It'll probably last 3 times as long because we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, and then halfway through, I forget who I am and stuff like that. I just because I don't care that much. I was like, I can't remember what color I am or who I am.
Pull a Napoleon from Bill and Ted, just smack the board with the sword, swipe it off. We're done. Game's over. So yeah, no Risk. It was such a popular game. Another one that
very popular game.
I always saw, like, even younger kids. It spanned all ages, but it just never got my attention. I never really wanted to sit down and play a huge game of Risk.
Yeah, it was one of those ones I'd never had, but I'll go to a certain friend's house and one of them will say, "Oh, let's play Risk," and everyone, their eyes will just roll and like, "Oh, jeez, can't we play Dizzy Dinosaur?"
Or something? Who invited this guy? Yeah, exactly. No, I was that guy. I'd be the counter. I'd be like, yeah, can we play Tornado Rex instead? Is anyone down from some of that? Yeah. Risk was definitely not high on my list at all. I didn't even think about Risk, but if I did, it'd be on the worst because it's just one I never wanted to get to. So my number 2 on my worst is Guess Who?
Is it me? Is it you?
Who knows? Guess who? Can you guess who? It's a mystery. Does your person wear a hat? No.
You're history. But I'm still here.
Can you guess who? Does your person have a beard? Uh-huh.
You're out of here.
Can you guess who? Do you have a clue? Does your person wear glasses? Yes.
I'm gone.
Me too. Can you guess who? Not you or you. You're Sam. You win. Let's play again. Can you guess who?
Guess who? Game cards do not actually talk.
And
really?
the reason,
I'm surprised about that.
Yes, and this is one of the ones that, like you said, people are going to hate because it's a popular one. And hopefully people can understand my reasoning. Guess Who's a great game for the first however long you have it, first couple weeks. But if you keep that same game and you keep playing your sister or your same cousin, you two are both going to figure out pretty easily who the characters are after a certain amount of time. So it just kind of makes the games a little easier, it makes them a little quicker because you just ask one question. You're like, oh, it's this person. Oh, it's that person. So you always got to a point where you're playing people who know who all the characters are. So it's like one question and that whoever can get it down in one question, basically. So it was just kind of like a quick game, and it kind of got boring for me after a while.
I never actually thought of it like that, but you're right, yeah. Yeah,
it's a fun game. I'm not saying it's not a fun game, but it's just it lost its luster for me because of the repetitiveness.
It could be one of those. It could be one of those games that you could play like once a year, so you don't remember everything. Once a year, have a game of Guess Who.
Bust it out on me every 8 to 12 months. I'm solid. But if that's my only game as a kid, then it's gonna be boring for sure. Yeah. So Guess Who was my number 2 on the worst. So now we're finally hitting our number 1s. But before we hit our number 1s, we have Twitter shout outs. First one goes out to You Can Rewind It saying Clue, which is a good one, but I was terrible at that game. Then we had James at EX Vapor. He says Monopoly in the UK. They're set in the UK towns and cities, so one of the shopping centers is near him. Then we have Garbage Time Points at GTP Mike and Rick. What they say is Connect 4, which is a pretty solid one. I think it was like a standard in all the doctor's offices, more than likely, that I went to. Next one, we got Amazing Advertising at Ad Mascots. They said 13 Dead End Drive, let your inner killer out. I agree. I never even played the game, but I saw that commercial plenty of times, and one of the few regrets in my life. The next one, we have 2 more. We have Matthew M at 3CT at Philly 8. And he said the fact that Crossfire isn't first on by a large margin is alarming. Yes, I agree. And then the next one we have Joe Tierpak at Pacafella. I know with a dope commercial too. Yes, we will get to that as well. And the winner of our poll this week for the best or most favorite nostalgic game was Mousetrap. So just beating out Crossfire. So Mousetrap, congratulations. I hope you're happy with yourself. Thanks everybody for the Twitter shoutouts. Do we have any honorable mentions? That ones that you wanted to put on your list that you just almost made it, but you deleted it and replaced it with something else?
I actually do. Not for the worst though. Actually, no, there is actually one for the worst, and that was Life, because I was going to put that on. But the other ones were, I told you, like Kaplunk, I kept taking it off and putting something else on, so it kept going off. So the honourable mentions will be, I've got my little note here, Connect 4.
Ooh, yes.
Because it's fun, and it's still fun today. I love Connect 4, it's really cool. Buckaroo.
That was
you know Buckaroo?
I didn't have it, but I looked it up and I saw it's the horse that, like, you just kind of had to stay on it. Is that what it is? What's the concept on
No,
that?
you basically you get like loads of different things like rope and just different things. You got to slowly put it on the saddle,
and they're gonna make sure they stay on, right? Okay.
Yeah, and as soon as it gets too heavy, it'll buck up and knock everything off and stuff. So if that's you, then you're out. The other one was Dream Phone. It's not one I ever had, but it's one I always saw like adverts for and stuff like that. And
You're curious about. You're like, I kind of want to try that.
I don't think boys really had one with it. Like, there was a cool phone and people called you and stuff like that. I thought that's kind of cool. Yeah, I want a boys version of that.
How come girls exist to have all that fun?
Yeah. The other one was Hungry Hippos. That nearly got to number 5 a few times because I love Hungry Hippos. It's awesome.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Just frantic, crazy fun for 5 seconds.
If you didn't break the handle, you're solid. Gotta get
the
that
one I've
quick
actually got, the handle's actually broken.
You gotta be easy on it.
The other one is, I don't know if it's called something different in America. It's Frustration.
I think we do. I'd have to look at it to see what's it do again.
It's like these little. They look like barrels to me. Like you can get red, green, blue, and yellow barrel things, and you've got to go all the way around to like a little exit bit, and in the middle, there's instead of rolling a dice, it's like a little dome, and you just pop it in, and it pops the dice up.
We call it treble. It's over
there
here.
You go. Okay. Yep. I think it's called something different. So and I actually got Guess Who on the thing because I did like playing it, but I didn't play it loads as a kid, so maybe that's why.
That's why I had the vendetta against it.
So yeah, they're my ones. You got any?
Yeah, so my honorable mentions was I did have Connect 4 just because it was definitely one that was in every classroom, grew up with it, playing all up until, they have it at bars now, the giant version of Connect 4, at the bars. So then it's still around. I had Connect 4. I had this this monkey one, what was it called? This monkey tree one where you have this tree, kind of like the Lion King tree, and you just shoot little monkeys with little arms, and they hook onto it. And I'm sure there's different renditions.
I know
of
you
it.
mean that, yeah.
You just shoot them up, and I had that, and I just played that like crazy, like monkey barrels or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember that one just being not a board game, but just being a super fun one that I loved playing. And what was the other one that I had as an honorable mention? I can't remember. I didn't write it down, but those are the two that I had for my honorable mentions. So we'll get to our number one. So we'll do our number one best one. We'll do our number one worst one first before we get to the best. So what's your number one worst one?
Okay, so my number one worst board game is Mousetrap.
Hey, give that back! Mouse trouble? Then you need Mousetrap. Mousetrap, I guarantee it's the craziest trap you'll ever see. The first to capture everyone else's mouse is the winner. Just turn the crank and snap the blank and boot the marble right down the chute. Now watch it roll and hit the pole and knock the ball in the rubber duck tub, which fits the man into the pan. The trap is set. Here comes the net. Ouch! Mousetrap, I guarantee it's the craziest trap you'll ever see. I knew you were a winner. Mousetrap from Milton Bradley.
Oh.
Because I don't think it's worth it at all. I think the whole setup, everything, and then it's all done within seconds. I just find it takes ages to set up, and you set it all up, and then one little thing, the guy jumps into a cup thing or something, and a little cage falls, and that's it. That's all you're setting up just for 2 seconds.
I couldn't agree more because it is my number one worst game as well.
Wow.
Yes. Yep. I have for exact same reasons. It's just like the game itself is a waste. You're just setting up to get to set off the whole mousetrap, and it's tedious. It's not easy because if you knock one, it's like one of those things like a domino set. You knock one thing over, everything else starts going, and and it's so quick because. You had the little cheese slices, but I even forgot what those were for, like like stuff like that. So it like I said, it's like the Grape Escape. It's like it was the commercials was awesome. The concept sounds great to kids until you actually play it, and then you're like, oh, okay.
And it was definitely another one I never had, but a friend would always say, let's play Mousetrap, and we'd spend ages setting it all up, and then I just couldn't be bothered once it was set up.
I have it in my closet right behind me, and my wife and I played it once, and we never said, like, we were so ecstatic, and it had the same effect. We set it up like, oh, we'll play the game, and we played like three or four turns. Like, okay, let's just set it off, and we put it away. It's like, yep, that's when the nieces and nephews come, we'll bust it out. But it hasn't caught our attention like some other games like that. So Mousetrap, that's a solid number one. I'm glad. It's funny that we agree on the number one. So we'll jump to our number one best one. So I'll do the number one best one. Mine is Crossfire.
It's sometime in the future. The ultimate challenge. Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught up in the crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught up in the crossfire. 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 You'll get caught up in it.
And
Crossfire.
This one, a lot of people are going to agree. Some people may disagree because it's not a true board game, maybe in their eyes. But this is the ultimate game with the ultimate commercial. That commercial, like, blew me away. I mean, I watched it just earlier today, and I think I watched it 3 times in a row. And that kid just getting pumped at the end. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I am pumped. And I had that game, and it's just awesome. It's like it lived up to the hype when you played it. Like, you were just like going crazy with the beads, shooting the gun, trying to get the little spinners to your opposite side. Yeah. And the worst part, of course, was either you lost the spinners or your mom vacuumed up all the little balls and took you down to like barely a handful. So you'd have to shoot like 2 at a time and then pick 1 or 2 up to get back. So Crossfire for me was like, it was the ultimate game. Like, even as a kid, I remember people bringing it to school to play. So did you guys have Crossfire? Did you rock it out?
I'm pretty sure there was Crossfire here because I'm sure I remember seeing the adverts for it and on Nickelodeon and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm so sad that I never played it because it looks so cool. I'm seeing like shooting all the balls and everything. You got to grab them all and put them back in the thing to reload and stuff. It looks so much fun.
Like, it's a constant, like, you're just like, you're shooting, but you're like, used to, not to sound weird, but you're grabbing for balls at the same time, and you're getting them in there and just trying to aim, and it's a high intensity. And the thing is, I remember playing it. We played it just like between a friend and I, but there was no background music. Play it now, like an adult version with like some metal playing in the back. Yeah. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. So Crossfire is my number one. So I hope people agree with that one. So what is your number one best game?
My number one best game is Screwball Scramble.
Do you want to play Screwball Scramble? Okay. Screwball Scramble. Trust Tommy.
Whoa, I don't know if I've seen or heard that one.
Screwball Scramble is it's a simple game, but it's just so much fun. It's one I played. Every time I think board games, Screwball Scramble is the one that pops in my head straight away. And basically, it's kind of like a maze game in a way. You start a little ball bearing, and you start at the beginning. The first part of it is a ladder. You've got to press a button, and the ladder's sort of like in a jigsaw. So you've got to sort of maneuver the ball over the bridge, like up and down, and then you hit a magnet. You got to turn around, then you hit 2 metal poles, and you've got to open the pole so the ball goes down it. But then you can't open it too much because the ball will fall down. Mm-hmm. So you got to open it and then close it and make sure the ball goes through, and then it goes to the end. And every little bit's like a little mini puzzle. Whoa. And there's a little labyrinth, and then at the end you hit the thing and it spins around, hits the bell, and you've got to the end. Man. And people try and do it as fast as they can. It's so much fun.
That sounds awesome. So is that something you still play today, or is that more of just like a childhood thing?
Oh no, I've got 2 of them. It's awesome.
Give them out for Christmas gifts. Yeah.
But nice. It's so cool. And at the end of the fixed onto it is a little clock, so you got to press it, and you've got like 60 seconds or something like that to do it. So you got to go really fast. So you can't exactly take your time on the bridge or anything like that.
Timer games,
you got to go for it.
Those timer games are no joke. For real. They'll get you going, no matter what skill level they expect out of you. If there's a timer, it builds that intensity.
Oh yeah, and the advert for it's proper 90s as well. It's got a kid going crazy, running up the walls, and his head turns into one of the not billiard balls, one of the little ball things, and he puts it on a Screwball Scramble, and it's so cool. But definitely. I don't know if it must have been released in America.
I'm
but
sure there's a version. If not, I might have to
definitely
jump
get
on
hold of
eBay. Yeah, jump on eBay, get that overseas delivery for sure. It was cool to get to see the different type of games that we got to enjoy growing up, and not only different type, but like the same game but a different name. So like with the Tornado Rex and what was your version again?
Dizzy Dinosaur.
Dizzy Dinosaur. Yeah, so like same concept, everything. So it is just interesting. That's awesome. And I wonder why. I mean, I guess Dizzy Dinosaur is not that much different than Tornado Rex, but I guess there maybe not tornadoes in the UK as often. So they're like, well, it's not gonna. The game's not gonna fly. So let's go call them Dizzy, something like that. So just like hearing the different names and how they may have changed them was interesting. So Dan, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast today.
Oh, that's fine. It's been fun.
Definitely. I mean, the channel, the podcast, and the YouTube videos, people need to go check those out because those are some pretty interesting and entertaining videos, to say the least. So tell everybody where they can find you online, subscribe, and listen to the podcast.
Okay, so on YouTube, it's youtube.com/oddpodshow, or literally just type oddpod in YouTube and it'll pop up straight away. Twitter @oddpodretro, even Instagram @oddpodretro. And the podcast is OddPod's Retro Game Music, which is on iTunes and any other podcast type thing. Was there any others? I think that's it for social media, isn't it? Oh, there's a Facebook group as well. Facebook.com/groups/OddPod Show, or just search OddPod in the groups search thing on Facebook, and you can join it, and everyone's really friendly on there, talking about nostalgia and stuff.
Well, nice.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, everyone go check those out. And like I said, go check out those awesome videos as soon as you can. In the meantime, you can also like, subscribe, rate, and follow the Be Kind of Rewind podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and YouTube. You can also find the podcast on poopculture.com with other stellar podcasts as well. So if you think you didn't hear right, you heard right. It is poopculture.com. So go to the website and find those other podcasts as well as mine. So thanks everybody for tuning in today, and be excellent to each other.